Hi, it's Andy.
Hi, it's Dave.
Hi, it's Kirk.
Welcome to the ADK Rock and Metal channel. So for today's video, we've got a discussion topic, and it's I thought it's time we actually started to look into a little bit more detail about the Japanese metal scene, because we've done multiple videos on it and it's been real hit and miss with us. Sometimes we really loved the track. We did the Dur and Grey track, which what's it called? Obscure, I think it was called. You guys really liked that. We had Maximum Hormone. I really liked that one. We've had Bandmade. I really liked Baby Metal. I really liked, but you guys weren't fans of. And then we had Love Bites, which we musically quite liked. Weren't a big fan of them vocally, but one of the things we've been challenged over from the commentary is we're too close-minded. Yada yada yada. We get a lot of that kind of. We just want to see men wearing black who are sweaty and got long beards, apparently. That seems to be the commentary. But I was sitting there really thinking about it, because there were bands that we really liked. Fate Gear was another band that we all really enjoyed, Fate Gear. So I don't think it's as clear cut as they're kind of putting it. But I am kind of asking the question is, why is Japanese metal like Marmite? And that is the question I'm putting out there. It is very much a Marmite topic, because it is either you like it, or you love it, or you hate it. There's no kind of middle ground with a lot of the Japanese metal. And there are metal bands out there that do sit comfortably and they sound like the Western metal bands, and they can crossover appeal very easily. But what is it about? I want to ask each of you guys, because I've been thinking about this. I've had more time, because obviously I knew the topic. I've had more time to think about it today. But what is it about Japanese metal that makes it so distinctive compared to, let's say, Norwegian metal, or even like Bangladeshi metal? If you listen to the Bangladeshi metal, it's much closer, apart from the language, it's very close to Western metal. So what is it about the Japanese metal that's so different that can potentially cause it to be Marmite? I'm going to throw this to Kirk first.
I don't think there's a homogenous genre called Japanese metal, but I agree there are some similarities, certainly with the more mainstream bands in that country. In terms of the bands that are taken more seriously in elite metal circles, you've got Psy, and then you've got that band Defiled that put an album out on Season of Mist this year, which is an excellent piece of death metal with a bit of hardcore and even Dillinger Escape Plan moments in there. But to answer your question, I've enjoyed most of the music that we've listened to over the last year, from the likes of Maximum the Hormone as an example.
Yeah.
Because they really do take incongruous genres and put them all together, and they don't care if it's jagged, if it's rough, if it's even a bit asinine, because you'll have J-pop, and then you'll have grindcore, and then rap metal, and then you have hardcore. So I'm always interested in that kind of music. And I agree, and Andy, you'd say the same. Sometimes it might be weird for the sake of being weird, but I'd rather listen to that than your generic American metalcore or deathcore where everyone sounds the same and it's all overproduced. Here, you get a wild mix. Even in one song, you'll have different audio engineering, where you'll have a really rough D-beat hardcore section, and then it will go into like a Primus type funk rock tangent. They're really keen on the extreme vocals, but also contrasting those with your pretty soprano type voices that almost sound pre-adolescent, don't they, at times, which is a bit strange and hard to get your head around. But on the whole, I would say I'm quite positive. I know that there's even a chasm, isn't there, in Japan, where the real metal bands like Psy, they don't take any of this stuff seriously. They're not gonna. They might like Maximum the Hormone, but they wouldn't like some of that other stuff that we've listened to. But don't let other people's opinions guide you. At the end of the day, do you like it or do you not like it? Take out whether they're trendy or taken seriously or not. You've got to make your judgment based on what does that music do to you? How do you react to it? If you enjoy it, say it. Don't hide behind elitist opinions.
Andy?
I think you summed it up in your summary, really. It's not, a genre where you could say Marmite, love it or hate it. I think, as Kirk alluded to as well, we've generally been pretty positive, not on every aspect of each band or each song. You know, we've enjoyed the music and perhaps not the vocals, or vice versa. So I don't think it's as black and white as you like Japanese metal or you don't. It's selective, and you know, like any other genre from any other country or any other scene. Admittedly, I've not gone back and listened to or delved further into any of the bands that we've covered from that part of the world, but that's not to say I haven't enjoyed the videos and the songs we've covered. Some I've absolutely found nothing of interest in, but that's been very few and far between. One point I was going to make, I think we've brought up in our conversations, the look of some of the videos and perhaps the style of songs that are being produced are a little bit behind what would be the equivalent of the American band or the European band. They seem to be a little bit sort of behind the time chronologically, and we've pointed that out as to being a reason why they perhaps stand out, or it's noticeably from Japan rather than anywhere else in the world. You know, sometimes it's the technology using the recording. Or
I think that's more the Indonesian market.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So when we for the Malaysian and Indonesian, I think when we've talked about some of the death metal bands and some of those guys, we've looked at that before, and we have definitely noticed that they're a couple of, like, they're always like 3 or 4 years behind the trends. But that's more the and actually that you've raised a good point there. So when we've talked about the Indonesian market, we had plenty of metalcore, deathcore bands, and they're almost following the same trend as the Western market, just a few years behind it. Whereas the Japanese market is a completely different scene, and it feels completely different. So even though you're talking about an Asian market, if you looked at apart from, let's say, like the Who from Mongolia, if you talk about like Bangladeshi bands and stuff, the stuff that I've come across is all very much either thrash, death metal, grindcore, the stuff that we would recognize and you could compare as very comparable. With the Japanese market, yes, there are comparable bands like Japan X, which is more of a classic metal band. You've got with Maximum the Hormone, very similar to like System of a Down would be a comparative band from a Western market, I guess. But there were 4 things that, well, actually maybe 3 things I think that really kind of stick out. And it was interesting you mentioned, Kirk, about metalcore, because when I was looking at videos that we were going to review today, I was clicking on all these links of bands. I'm like, okay, big chord section, yeah, open chord, very much vocals go up, go clean, yep, heard it all before. Next band, oh look, heavy vocals, drop down section, there's the break, yeah, it goes up, big chord section, chorus, yeah, clean vocals. And I was like, these metalcore bands, they're all sounding exactly the bloody same. You can predict what's going to happen, and these are all new releases. And then I clicked on a Japanese band, and I was like, I had no idea what was going on in it. And there is that element, and I don't know if it puts people out their comfort zone, but one thing I noticed straight away with the band that I was listening to earlier was it was just so poppy on the chorus, and it does throw it, and it was like da 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 ba 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 da 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 da. I was like, you've just gone from like a thrash beat into sort of like this pop thing, and I don't know. I'm not saying it's not something I've really listened to. I like pop and I like metal, but I don't kind of want them to be together. I want to listen to a pop song kind of thing, and I want to listen to a metal track. My mind's in a metal mood. It doesn't want to switch, so I don't listen to that song on its own. It's that emotion. We've talked about songs about how you need to emotionally connect with them. I find it difficult with Japanese songs to emotionally connect because they change so often. And I'm generalizing here because there are so many different styles of Japanese bands, but when we're talking about things like baby metal, stuff like that, when you've got these significant changes in songs, if you're feeling sad and you've got this heavy track going on and then it switches into a pop beat, it just kind of ruins your mood, your flow of your emotion. You were connected to that track and then suddenly they've changed it on you. And that's one of the reasons I personally don't always get into some of these Japanese bands, because I don't think they're interesting. They're doing these changes to make it different, but I don't think you can connect emotionally with the track that you can with a track that's got this flow of emotion the same all the way through. You go on the journey of the song. I find that a lot of these sort of Japanese bands or songs that we've listened to do have too many changes to allow you to do that. Did I make sense there?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Do you think that, here's an angle to look at it, are a lot of these bands trying to insert an element of chaos into pop music and to really defile the glossy exterior of pop music? Or are they trying to insert pop into progressive, and even extreme metal. Because I'll give you an example. When you do listen to Maximum the Hormone, there's what, 9 or 10 genres just thrown in there.
There is, yeah.
And it's just pure chaos. And that adrenaline, I guess if you wanted to use an obvious metaphor, it's like probably being caught up in a Japanese tsunami. And one thing I do like about these bands that go for that approach, and often they do seem to be from Japan, is they really do not care about any trends. They don't care what people think, in my opinion. I don't think
they have no borders.
Have it in the back of their head, oh, somebody outside of Japan might listen to this. They're not bothered. And I think if you've got that attitude, that's quite a healthy way to innovate. I'm not saying it's going to be successful all the time, but the country famously is quite introverted, isn't it? I mean, it took, 1853, Commodore Perry, the American, goes in there with a gunboat and demands free trade with Japan. You know, for 400 years, they had the Bushido, the Tokugawa period. They were living under
we get a history that's
military
there.
aristocracy, weren't they? I know, exactly. But and the music, I just like how they're very much, we don't care how people perceive us. Maybe they do domestically. You like using that word market, don't you? Which I can understand why you would use that. Some people might not like that when you're talking about art, but to us it is, isn't it? Like, let's be brutally honest.
Music is marketed. It's definitely. I mean, it's in Japan even more so than probably over here. I'm also wondering with the fact that they have the obviously hentai and anime. And if you look at a lot of the music that's put into that has a lot of different styles. It flicks from aggressive into dance music into pop, and as it tells the story, as it's all, music is a huge part of that. And they actually get a lot of the big bands like Bandmate and stuff like that have actually produced music for these anime series. So there's quite an element of crossover between bands. But there is one part of the Japanese market that I'm not a fan of, and that's the idols. And that's the corporations or the people that put groups together and create another new band. And that's something because I feel a band is something that organically happens. It's something where you get groups of people together, you write music together, and you work out, and you lose members, you get new members until you get a cohesive gel. Getting a group of teenage girls together and going, this is our new group, and then getting 5 guys to go and write the music and getting them to sing the track is not a band. I don't care what they say. It's not a band to have studio writers write your songs and have free singing. That's a solo artist. That's what Mariah Carey and that lot will do. That's a pop. That's very much the pop market, the pop idol vibe, if you like. Having this is a baby metal thing. I actually was looking at their last album, and they have got a backing band, but the backing band, only one member of the backing band actually writes any of the songs. He writes, but they also have outside people who come in and write from other bands who write songs for baby metal. And then this Konami band play that music live and the girls sing it. And that's why when I kind of talk about baby metal, I'm like, but you're talking about it as the greatest metal band, but it's not, because none of them actually wrote any of the songs.
That's a business venture, isn't it? That's not it's not a metal band or any band of, it's not creative.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Artistic, is it?
Yeah, I have no it's a show. You're seeing 3 women on stage putting on a dance performance, singing, having great fun. They're putting on a great show. You've got a backing band that can play amazingly well. But please stop saying they're the greatest metal band in the world, because it's a disservice to the metal bands that go out and work their asses off writing and putting all the backbone into that performance. Obviously, if they could be these metal bands could be putting in so much work but still be shit. That does happen. But there are metal bands that go out there and they slave and they grind on this stuff and they go out and they do really, really well. But you shouldn't be comparing band like Baby Metal who don't actually write their stuff. And I've pulled that off from facts. It's out there. You can go online, you can check and see the people that wrote the songs on the last album. And it's only one person from the Konami band, the guitarist, I believe it is, who actually was involved in the writing. The rest of them weren't. So Baby Metal as a whole weren't involved in the writing of the song. And I think that's possibly why you have such a distinction of different styles on their album, because they're coming in as a corporate entity, right? And that ties back to this idols thing, which is the thing that I don't like about the Japanese music scene. Is this? I had a post on one of the Japanese Facebook groups, which was a new idol group's been created, and there was 3 young girls again, and I'm like, stop it. Just stop it. Stop creating this weird market of young Japanese girls in bands. It's just weird to me. I just find that really odd. But apart from that, that's the thing that puts me off the Japanese market. But everything else, I really enjoy the music side of it.
Dave, you've identified something else that's idiosyncratic about the Japanese music industry. Let's look at Britain in the 80s, and you have the rise of Stock Aitken and Waterman. These were manufactured songs, and a lot of them were just dance beats, weren't they? Melodic keyboards, very formulaic, but they stuck in your head. They were, you could say, objectively good songs. Then in the 90s, you've got the rise of the boy bands, haven't you? And the girl bands. So whether that's Take That or Eternal, again, outside songwriters. My point is, at no point did any songwriters think, oh, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take Elton John, and then we're going to add Napalm Death, and we're also going to bring in some Slipknot, and let's just put a bit of Prodigy in there for the sake of it. So at least in Japan, even the songwriters who are putting these together, look at it from the perspective of someone from Britain. Why are they inserting all these transgressive elements into the songs and expecting them to do well, which clearly they are doing? So I don't know, the appetite is completely different, because here, when the industry, famously in the 80s and 90s, manufactured artists, they were always just for radio. Can you play this to the 80-year-old woman in a nursing home? But can you also play it to the 13-year-old? That's where you had your heartthrob boy band music. And then even like dance music, yes, there was a bite to that. There was a real thrust, but it could still appeal to a broad range of people. Whereas this, there's just nothing orthodox about it. So I admire that. I just don't understand how people in the industry are even putting together these disparate elements, manufacturing groups, and then just saying, right, go out there, this band are going to write you an avant-garde grindcore pop song. What the fuck?
I mean, that is the one thing I really like about the Japanese scene, is that at least every time you open up a video, you have no idea what you're going to get. It could be amazingly good. It could be something very cringeworthy. It could be something that infuriates you. You don't know. Whereas with the European metal scene, you can pretty much, you look at the title of the band and you go, all right, play it. Oh, it's 5 blokes. Yeah, look at the video. Look at the image. I know what I'm going to get here. You can pretty much guess it straight off. Within 5-10 seconds of a song, you're like, you know what the song's going to be and how it's going to go. It's unlikely. Occasionally you might get a surprise, but not very often. Japanese music definitely gives you surprises, and I like it for that. But well, I'll be interested to know what other people think in the comments down below. Now, if you like this video, please do like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on another video sometime very soon. Take care.